Hi! I'm Christina.
I'm Maya from
Bookworm
Dreams, and welcome to a new video. So today we are going to commemorate the 4th anniversary of our Booktube channel.
Yes.
So we started our Booktube channel in January of 2019, I think, and we have never, I think, commemorated any anniversary. And once I realized it's been 4 years, and I was like, well, maybe we should talk about it, or maybe so just reflect on things that happened in those 4 years. So I do have a couple of questions here. We'll probably meander, but it's what it is. All right. So the first question is, how did we get started? So we have two versions of this.
Yes. well, technically that's two versions. It's just you've been watching YouTube longer than me, so
yes.
Booktube. So for me, it started with Book and Lala's Unhaul project, the Closet Unhaul project, where I started watching Booktube, and then afterwards we kind of liked the idea of videos and started sending videos to each other.
Yes,
outside of Booktube.
Because at that time, we were getting fairy loot boxes. At least I was getting fairy loot boxes. I had some various adventures of trying to actually get my fairy loot box. And then because I watched a bunch of unboxings on YouTube, I was like, I'll make a video and I'll send it to you. Because you were the only person at that time who was, into Booktube. And I think I sent it also to my sister as well. Yeah. So the three of us sort of watched these weird videos that I made. And then did you make me some? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at one point they were like, well, we could do it together and have a channel.
Yes.
And then there was the discussion of names, and there were several versions of what the channel was going to be called. And then you were always very organized and very thinking ahead of things. You had the banner, you had the intro, outro quite quickly. We didn't have them from the beginning, I think. Or did we? I don't think we did.
No.
But
I think I upgraded it at some point.
Yeah, but you were the one who was behind the whole
I was the administrator.
Yes. I was the one who had
the creative.
No, I was the one who had that insane idea, which I now realize is completely stupid, of having 2 videos a week from the beginning. And it was a bit of a logistic nightmare because we live in different cities, and I had to go to her, and then you had to come to me, and we would have to film 3 or 4 videos so we can fit this crazy schedule. And now that for the last year or so that I've been doing it by myself, you can probably tell that I don't put 2 videos a week because it's completely for us who have an actual job outside of this, and we work and we have family stuff and whatnot, and you have a kid now. Sometimes it's just not feasible to do so. So that's how we got started. And what do you remember of filming our first video?
I don't even remember what was it.
It was the
welcome.
We did the good new Booktuber tag. What do you call it?
Oh yeah, that one.
We did the 23 bookish facts about us, but we divided, so each got 13 or something.
Oh, okay.
All right. And I don't remember what the next 2 were, because I remember we filmed 3 or 4 in your bedroom over there.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was the Christmas party, and I remember people.
You were mad because people were too loud.
Yes, I was just about to say. So it wasn't people were gathering for this Christmas party that we had at your house, and we were trying to film there, and I could hear one of the guests from there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. Or did I send you to go tell them to be quiet? I told them, okay, because I was a bit okay, come on, we're filming here, silence on the set and whatnot. Yeah, I remember that, but yeah.
I actually don't remember that, but I remember what I wore. I remember I wore one of my favorite shirts, with the Nightmare Before Christmas. And I remember we were sitting on the floor. Yes, we were sitting. on the floor. And we had that bubble light thingy that's at my house now that had Bookworm Dreams on it. Yeah. Fun times. All right. So what are some Booktuber traps that we fell into? When we started Booktube. Other than the crazy schedule of you already said filming too many videos per week.
Yes.
Without considering literally our life schedule.
And also whether we had the content to. There were a lot of tags. a lot of tags. And
I think we also fell into the trap of we need to do a lot of readathons.
Yes.
So I remember you used to like you used to have like a month with like 7 readathons happening.
Yes,
and
I
like
do that sometimes as well. But I'm a bit more like I choose the readathons that are geared to my reading interests now, and not like all of them.
Yeah, because I think we used to, when we started, like we just kind of gravitated towards the bigger channels, and we just kind of so I don't know, Lala's doing this readathon, or I don't know who we watched, Book Roast was doing this, or
Sam from Thoughts on Toms, Tom Topol.
So we kind of always went there, maybe without considering what our reading tastes are.
Yes, we also bought books that are not our reading genre.
Yeah,
I know, because I'm Wholesome. Throughout the years, I'm like, why do I have this Becky Albertarelli book? I'm never going to read it. And what was it? The guy Adam Silvera.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't have
I actually read that,
and
I hold it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, because we went to Interliebe, and they were like, oh, I've heard of this on Booktube, and this one, and this one, and this one, and then you grabbed it, and you're like, well, wait, are
you actually gonna read it?
Yeah. Everybody falls into that box when they start watching Booktube or actually doing Booktube, and there were also, of course, the book boxes. I'm not sure that does Hoću knjigu still have a book box?
I think they do.
Right. So we started with Fairy Loot. This was before we started our book channel.
Yeah.
Then when we started it, we did the Universe Unbound one.
Yes. I think we didn't film it. I also got a couple of owl crates as birthday gifts.
All right.
Then we had, I think I had some, I had some romance one, because this is the book from one of those books.
Wait a minute.
Boxes.
Oh, I remember this one.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. And we did Hoću knjige several times. Yeah. And then we did I
don't know what we did.
We did like sort of not well known, but like smaller ones, just like one-offs to see if we liked it or not. And then at some point we realized that, it is a lot of money. And it also is a book that we usually either did not read or did not like. And all the book tchotchkes that you get with it. I mean, they're fun and whatnot, but when you have
you
limited
put them
time
on a shelf and that's it.
Just collects dust. And then we stopped with the book boxes.
Yeah. And I think like the biggest one was just thinking that we needed to read like a lot to create content. Like I know there
but we didn't really do a lot of reviews until we got to the week offs. In our second year, we started doing week of some specific genres. So we did romance, we did horror, we did zombies.
I actually really love that.
Did we actually ever do the middle grade one or not?
No, we did not.
We did not.
Which is sad, because I really like
those. The book collection, the book selection is really good, but we haven't gotten to it
we
yet.
don't actually get a lot of views on that. I think they're one of least
watched videos,
but I love doing them because
fun.
Because I love reading the same things she does, so we can kind of comment on stuff and see how different views we have and stuff like that. I love that.
Yeah. So did you check the channel to see what our most successful video is?
Mine, the cleaning
one. So she made a cleaning video. So
that was the most random video I made. I was like, I'm gonna buy used books as gifts one year, and I was like, okay, I need to clean them. I'll just do a video about it. I literally thought it was gonna be like, whatever, no one's gonna watch this, and it's been our best video. Yes. And anyways, it's hilarious to me.
The next one is, I think, our review of Circe, or no, Song of Achilles, I think.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't check that.
And then there's another review. Burn for Me has a lot of views, and Lady of Rooksgrave Manor has a lot of reviews, and everything else is around the 100 to 50 views, and then most of it below it's under 30 or something like that.
That's fine.
Yeah. I was also surprised when sometimes that video would jump, the cleaning video would jump on my personal personal YouTube account. I'm like, okay, and I clicked on it, and then you had ads because it's but we have 200 as of filming this, over 210 subscribers, and so we don't get AdSense review or whatever that is. So no. So when I saw the review, I was like, oh, an ad on this video. I was like, oh, look, how cool for for YouTube, not for us.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So while being on Booktube, how has your reading taste changed? Has it changed at all?
Completely. I mean, I can't say it was because of Booktube. I think it was because of you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But basically, like, if you watch our first videos, I'm the one with romance, mystery, thriller kind of things. If you watch our Booktube, you'll see that I rarely read mystery and thrillers, like, at all. Maybe, like, you know, sporadically. Basically, I kind of refocused towards fantasy. You don't know yet what I read this year, but basically there is, I think, one book that is not fantasy and all the rest are fantasy.
You are doing better on the Robbie Hobb side of things than I am, so, you know.
I'm only on the second book.
I haven't even gotten to the second book. I read the first one like years ago and I haven't continued at all, so you're doing better on this front than I am.
I also caught you up on the Fetch Phillips one.
Really? Did you read the second one?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Excellent. We can talk about it later if you want.
But basically, I totally switched kind of from this mystery thriller kind of genre to the fantasy one and discovered, like, the urban fantasy thing is like, oh my god, I love it.
It's life. It's life.
Fantasy romance also.
Also life.
And I think I also kind of honed in better on what I actually like reading. I think the fact that we actually bought a ton of books that we didn't like and we ended up or not reading or DNFing or something just made us realize more what our reading tastes are.
Yes.
And I think that's like the biggest thing, because now I know, I don't know, in romance that I need like some kind of tension, drama there, or like in fantasy I like fantasy, but I really need like some kind of romantic subplot to really draw me in. So like pure fantasy is just not like, it's just not my thing. Like epic horror without anything else. So just kind of that. Finding...
Yeah, well, mine has pretty much stayed the same. Like, because I remember saying at the beginning, I do read fantasy and science fiction and urban fantasy and whatnot. But what has changed is that I have stopped pretending that I'm going to enjoy anything literary, or I'm going to read the classics, and that I've read the class. Oh, no, I didn't pretend I read the classics, but I was like, oh, one day I will read The Three Musketeers. I will not. I would rather watch the BBC or ITV TV show that I had with Tom Burke, which was awesome. But also I realized that romance is now... I read a lot more romance in the last... I've read a lot more romance in the last 2 years, since the pandemic actually started.
Yeah.
I read a lot of but I didn't categorize it as romance while I was in college, because I read a bunch of urban fantasies, but it's actually paranormal romances. I didn't know that then. I know that now. So I read most of the Suki Stackhouse series. I read, not Anita Blake, Jesus Christ, Ilona Andrews, Kate Daniels series. I read Dresden. Dresden is urban fantasy, but and I'm also I know now what I like, what I don't like, and I know like when I read something and I've found it easier now to DNF books and to just say I can recognize now that this author is not for me, and I will not like force myself to read just because it has a very popular book out right now and whatnot. So that's sort of how Booktube affected my reading.
I definitely started DNFing more, but like after maybe 1 or 2 years.
I give it a third. I give it like 30% now, and I'm like, And then I think if I want to DNF or not.
Yeah. Or sometimes currently I'm reading one book and I'm just so not in the mood for it. Just like I started it, it was good. I just can't force myself, and I'm just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna leave it there. We can reread it. Like I can reread it if I get the mood to do it and just like I think that's good.
So what is your favorite part of Booktube, and what's like least favorite part of doing Booktube? Well, my least favorite part is editing. I don't like the... I mean, it's fine, but it can be tedious and it can be time consuming.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, particularly because we read a lot of books on our Kobo or Kindle, and just putting up like the pictures that you can't just like put up a book and it's like, hey, and that's it.
Yeah.
But you have to But I really don't know. I actually haven't thought about this. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I think, but this is just a me thing. I think I put too much pressure on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because like what we talked about in the beginning, the pitfalls of Booktube, like I think I pushed myself too much, like expecting too much,
Mm-hmm.
and that's basically my least favorite thing, because I keep, even now sometimes I just feel like, oh, you're not reading enough, you should read more. And that's just a me thing. Like, you know, it's not like the booktubers that read that like a lot
Mm-hmm.
do it to, you know, do it in your face. I read this much. It's just they have more time. They devote more time to it, you know? Like I think like that's like my least favorite thing.
The pressure of reading that you have to read.
Yeah. And I mean, the longer we watch it, I think,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I think I still haven't diversified my subscription box, let's say, enough. Okay. Because I keep, it feels like I watch like for example, booktubers I like, and I keep seeing constantly the same books.
Yeah.
It's like, actually the most books, new books I find are through smaller channels or through you, basically, you know, and like all the other channels are more like, you know, rinse and repeat. Like I literally find myself in a situation where I know like a lot about a book that I have no interest in reading, that I haven't read, but I know the title, I know the author, I know what it's about, I know like what the trigger warnings, like I know about the book, although I have never, like, you know, so like I still haven't had the time to kind of, you know, seek out maybe, you know, like smaller channels that are more similar to my taste than just like a general, you know, the big ones.
Yeah. Well, my least favorite thing about Booktube, well, other than the editing, because that can be boring, we have been on Booktube for a while now, and we can see how everything is cyclical. The themes have been of like discussion and whatever scandals and whatnot have been like, we've seen like maybe 2 or 3 iterations of it already, like whether listening to audiobooks is reading, then you know, if is like whatever new social media is destroying YouTube, or like our author is supposed to be in reviewer spaces. Like there's you know, themes and stuff that keeps recurring that you're like, we've talked about this a lot, like last year, the year before that, and it's like sometimes it can be sort of all samey, but then again, there are some things that, like, new things that keep happening, so which I guess force people to talk about it again. But it can be sometimes like, okay, we didn't really like talk about this last month, why are we talking about this again? And also it sometimes feels like some of the booktubers, bigger ones or whatnot, feel like, I don't want to say that they feel like they have that they are better than everybody else because they, first of all, pay so much attention to everything. I've discovered, like, quite recently, I'm like, I don't use Booktube the same way that most of booktubers use Booktube. I've discovered that basically making these videos and doing this is just sort of a way for me to keep track of what I'm reading and to just basically keep track of what I'm reading. I'm not here to like teach everybody about whatever the problematic author did or what the like in-depth themes of some books are. And you know, when you watch a bigger YouTube get into like book review of the most popular books, and then they get like the book review is like half an hour long, and I'm like, this is not something that interests me. I just, you know, there are some tropes that I like, and I want to hear if those tropes are there. And if they're not, okay, fine, great. But, you know, sometimes when you watch them, you're like, oh, you know, am I supposed to be paying attention to all of these things? Am I supposed to, every time I find a book that I like, am I supposed to first go Google the author to see if there were any scandals? Am I supposed to, like, because someone was talking, I just found this video about Jay Kristoff, and they were talking about Nevernight, and they were, like, talking about how there is Maori misrepresentation and something anti-Semitic about it. I'm like, I did not catch any of that. And then you kind of feel bad because I read the books that they were mentioning and I enjoyed them, but I didn't obviously read them so in-depthly, and or at least I don't have the cultural background to realize these things. And I'm like, okay, now I feel bad and then I hate it that someone makes me feel bad about things that I enjoy. I mean, if they are problematic and you will address it and whatnot, but still sometimes when you watch like Booktube, you're like, okay, like you're kind of sucking the joy out of this fun hobby that I have. So that's kind of one of my least favorite things about it.
I get that. Yeah. What is your favorite thing?
Oh, my favorite thing.
We're talking about negatives here.
Oh yeah. So, well, we met a bunch of cool people while doing this, and we talk to them online. So that's a very cool thing. Favorite also. Discovering reading experiences was really helpful. Like in a time where you're really busy and you're like, I don't have time, and then you're like, oh look, this person is having reading experience. Can you maybe participate and just even if you're a lurker and not like commenting all the time and whatnot. What else? Readathons are fun. I like readathons. It's always fun to have like
I think it forces you to kind of reach for books.
Yeah.
That you won't like you're interested in, but maybe not necessarily like you're gonna
and if you plan well, it can be like a ginormous body read. So you have a bunch of people. You can if you're a part of the Discord and whatnot, you can talk to people and whatnot. So I mean, and filming videos is fun. I like filming videos. These are cool, and I've just recently started doing vlogs again because I found it was like a way to get me to read stuff. Because usually I would be just on my phone on Booktube watching Booktube and not actually filming videos. So there are fun things about it. We just like I'm making it sound like we're not enjoying this, but I am enjoying it. We have been doing this for 4 years, and if we haven't been enjoying it, we would have stopped. We did take some breaks at some point.
We had mostly because of me some downtime.
Yeah, and I also took a break one summer, I think, because it was like okay, like
too much.
I don't want to think about this for a while, but it is fun.
I really, I mean, first of all, I enjoy hanging out with you. Oh. Like, no, literally.
That as well, of course.
No, but really, like, we used to, like, talk about books and everything, but kind of this forced us to kind of hang out more and just to, share a love of something. Like, I mean, our other friends read, but I think we are the biggest readers.
Yeah, because they read like one book a month or in a couple of months and whatnot.
And we, like, since I kind of shifted into fantasy now, like, we have more and more books in common. And, like, I like to buddy read, like, exchange, like, immediately. Like,
because you see things I don't see and I see things that you don't see. So it's a fun discussion.
Yeah, and like I don't actually mind the editing part, but I'm like such a geek nerd about like this kind of technical administrative organization stuff that like
I mean it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's like oh god, I have to find like 15 like book covers of various let's say questionable nakedness of people on them when I do like whatever lists of stuff. And they're like, let's try to find one where there isn't like a half naked woman on there like in an arms of a blue dude, but
Oh my God.
All right, so so do you see yourself doing Booktube for a little while, like in the future? Like,
well, yeah, I hope so, but like unfortunately, as I said like in one of our a year ago videos, like with a baby, I really still can't kind of anticipate
what will happen and whatnot.
What will happen, what not. Like literally the baby has days when it's like great, I can actually read. It has days where I'm like there's not 1 second that and I have to be with the baby all the time. And it's just there's stuff on when I go back to work, I'll have to see how that goes. Then we have to see if we'll get a kindergarten or if we're gonna have to have a babysitter, and like there's so many logistical stuff that kind of needs to happen. Then I really can't. I want to because like I set my Goodreads goal for this year for 12, just like kind of
a book a month, yeah.
I don't want to force myself too much, but currently I'm at 15.
Oh, that's great.
And like, it's the end of March, and I'm like, I'm so happy
That's great.
that I actually managed to read 15 books. 6 of them were rereads, but still, like...
That counts, of course it counts.
That's like, we have a minute.
That's great. So, ćemo završiti.
Pa kako ćeš, ti nisi rekla?
Well, yeah, I can see myself. I'm enjoying it, and I think if my like favorite booktubers are still on Booktube, I will be there, because I mean, if you like lose your favorites and whatnot, it's like there's no point. So
yeah,
I guess it's all up to you guys. I'm kidding. So yeah. This was our video of our reminiscing of our 4 years on Booktube.
Yeah.
If you want to ask us some questions or share your thoughts, please do so down below in the comments.
Please like, share, subscribe.
Yes.
Press the bell button if you want to get notifications whenever we post new videos.
There are some links in the description box for you to check out. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and
we'll see you in our next video.
Bye.